morning, everyone. This is Clara with Card Stamping with Clara. Hope you're doing well today. I'm back with some more cards. I hope you'll enjoy. Before we get started, if you would please push the subscribe button. I would appreciate that, and share it with someone if you know someone that enjoys crafting. That would help me, and it would also help you to get my videos. The other thing I wanted to mention is there's a new tag set out featured around Santa Claus. So it's called Santa's Tags, and you might want to check that out. It's a kit, so pretty much everything that you would need would come in that kit. Okay, well, let's talk about the cards today. This is the card we're going to be making. It's really easy to make, and yet it looks, like it might be a lot of trouble to make. It is from the Artistically inked set, and I've done this one in Evening Evergreen, and then on the inside, wishing you every happiness this special day will bring. And that is from the Peaceful Moments stamp set. So I'm going to set that up, and I'll show you what's in this set before we look at all the other cards. It's a nice cling set, and it's got hello, best wishes, thanks, and happy birthday are your sentiments. And then I don't know how you would describe them other than artistically inked. You've got a large flower, you've got something that looks similar to a rose, and we're going to be using this stamp to make the background for that card. So I'm going to go ahead and take it out and lay it over here. Man, that thing is stuck in there this morning where I put the backing on. Okay, but we'll be using that stamp, and we'll also be using the die. These are called artistic dies, and I've already taken out the one that we're going to use to cut out that big flower. And there's a real nice leaf die, and there's dies to cut little tiny flowers, and two dies to cut the leaves, and then you've got a die that will cut the large flower, the small, the rose type flower, and then the small flower. So those are the sets plus the Peaceful Moments for the inside sentiment. And pretty much, there's not much else that I used with these other than those sets. I think I had a couple with a large round die, but other than that, let's look at these and see if you like them. This one, I used gold in behind, gold foil, tied a little trim of gold in a little bow here at the bottom, and just made it very simple, and I thought it looked really nice. And this flower is so large, I did not put a sentiment on all of them. I did on some. And then on this one, I just put congratulations, and I put So Saffron in behind that kind of matches the gold in this one. So that's a very simple congratulations card. This one was the first one I made, and I used the garden green and that stamp we're going to use today to make the background, and then I cut out the flowers and glued those on, and then I overlaid it with the gold. So this is done in Calypso Coral. It says happy birthday. I used 3 of the metallic gems, the brushed metallic in the gold, and that's this label I did use from the seasonal die set, which is just a perfect label to go across the front of a card like that. So put the same sentiment on the inside in the Calypso Coral. This one, I was just using up some pieces. I did a lot of experimenting with this. It's a little bit out of my wheelhouse, as they say, this artistic designed set. But this one, I used the die that we're going to be using today. And this is the Garden Green and the So Saffron. And I put some little accents of the little gold gems and put happy birthday on the end of this one, on the inside of this one. And this is So Saffron on the garden green. So that's how I come up with that one. This big round die is just one I had. The ones that Stampin' Up! Has are not that large. I'm going to be honest with you. And I just wanted that large one to cut out this big flower. This one was the very last card I made. And interestingly enough, you're going to see that I use this as a stencil on some of these other cards I'm going to show you here in a second. And as I used it for a stencil, I thought, I wonder what that would look like on white. So this is a combination of colors. This is certainly got Highland Heather in it, and it's maybe got a little bit of Gorgeous Grape. And this one is mostly Melon Mambo, but it also has some of that Evening Evergreen in places underneath. And of course, the Evening Evergreen is the leaves. So I made this one and put happy birthday. I embossed the happy birthday. I put 3 of the special little jewels. I forget what these are called, but they're fancier jewels or something. There's 3 of them, 3 different colors in the pack's what I'm trying to say. This color is Melon Mambo, and I put the same sentiment on the inside. This one just says hello, and it is going to show you what those leaves, you can see part of those leaves I put in gold underneath. And this one is done in Blackberry Bliss on the shaded spruce color. And then I stamped hello in Blackberry Bliss and put some gold, those gold metallic gems on again, which I really like. And this one is probably the Flirty Flamingo. So I added a little pink and what have you. So that's just sort of a combination of things. That was more of an experiment than anything else. But I think it turned out pretty well. I'm not sure I like it as well as I do some of the others. But it still turned out to be a nice card. And just to say hello, you can write whatever you like in it. Okay. Here's one that is very fall looking. It's done in the Mango Melody, is this color, and I also colored this one in the Mango Melody, and I also colored in the So Saffron, and I used some garden green. Now the thing about this one is, I don't want to deceive you in any way, because there is not a stamp that will stamp this image in this set. What I did, believe it or not, is I took this design, which was like this that I said that I used as a stencil. So I cut out that design. I've turned it around a little bit here. I've got the big flower down in the corner. But the way I got this, and I don't know if I'd recommend it or not, but it did work. I took the stencil and turned it over on and laid it down on a piece of paper, and I took my Versamark ink and put all over the back of that stencil. And I thought, well, at first I didn't think it was going to work. And then I had the thought that if I run it through my die cutting machine just to pressure it, not to cut anything out, but just to, just to flatten it out, that maybe that Versamark would stick and I could put gold on it, to make it embossed. And that is what happened. I did run it through, and I had enough ink on it then that I could sprinkle on my embossing powder and make this design. I haven't seen anybody do that. It may have been done before, probably has been, but that was something that just kind of came to me when I was working on this. So I really like the way the card turned out. The only thing is I did notice that there's a little bit of gold that also got, into the center of the flower, but it looks fine as long as I colored it with the Mango Melody. So that was a very different kind of card. a different way to make a card, and then on the inside I just put the same sentiment and more of the mango melody. All right, this one I just put thanks on, and it's done in the Gorgeous Grape. This is also embossed in white. This is the Flirty Flamingo, and I put some Blushing Bride Pink and then some Highland Heather, and as you can see, they're at different levels to give it dimension. So some of them are stamped onto the card panel, some are lifted up, and this one's lifted way up as the central focus. And I did not write anything on the end of that one. This one is one of those that I used that stencil on, and I took my sponge brushes, my blending brushes, and I just put ink down and held the stencil or taped the stencil in places that I could get that effect. And like I said, it was just a paper stencil that I made. It was not, you know, it didn't come with a stencil. It's just that I made the stencil and came up with this effect. And I like the way that it looked on the soft succulent. Put a happy birthday on it. Put 3 gems that kind of matched it. And the inside is the same. Yeah, that's how I came up with that one. This one, I use basic gray to get the background. This is Poppy Parade is the color. Evening Evergreen is the color of the leaves. And I cut, well, these are kind of layered up on each other, but they're glued that way. They're not popped up on dimensionals. So that's the way I made that one. And like I said, the hello, it gives you a place to write. And the last one, I decided that I would see if I could make a stencil, not make a stencil, but I kept moving the stencil around to get this effect. So I think it turned out pretty good. It's different, and it's a place for you to write thanks. So there you go. So let's make this card, and like I said, there's not going to be a whole lot to do today, but I want to show you what I'm going to do and how I got to that card. Got my little bag. Part of it I've cut out, part of it I haven't yet. I did cut out the white flower that we're going to inlay into the place that I'm going to cut out. Well, you just have to watch it. I don't know how to say it. This is the die. This is the only, what can I say? It's the only way that you can get this flower. There's no stamp that's like this. So I want to emphasize that. That's why I guess I was trying to be careful. All right. Went ahead and did the inside, which is easy enough. Evening Evergreen, and just stamp, you know, whatever greeting you want on the inside. So the card base is ready, and we're going to start with this piece of Evening Evergreen for the front. And the measurements on this may be a little closer to 4 by 5 1/4, but then this is going to be wider, so it's going to give it a little bit of a different effect than we're used to having. And this is the piece that we're going to start with. First thing I'm going to do, and I'm going to show you about this. I'm about to knock off some things, typical me. Let me put this stamp on the block. And all you do to get this background effect, let me move this around a little bit and make sure that I'm under the camera so you can see, is just stamp your image, and there's no right or wrong place to start. And I did turn mine sometimes. And I did overlap some. I didn't go over it a world of times. But I did overlap some. And there you go. That's all there is to making that background. Isn't that easy? I'm going to clean off just a little bit of this stamp before I continue. Otherwise, I'll have it all over me. Okay. I guess I'm better get me a baby wipe here to lay up so that when I get glue on my hands in a few minutes, I'll be able to clean it up. Okay, now then, this is the piece that we're going to inlay, and if we're going to make it like this one, we need to kind of turn it so that it will fit into the, to give it this orientation is what I'm trying to say. You could turn your flower where it'll be up like this, or you could turn it like that. You know, just whatever looks nice to you. So I'm going to turn it kind of like this. And as you'll notice, I'm going to turn it just, I think I'm going to turn this one down just a little bit more to give myself a little bit more room around the edges. And you want to center this to start with. And I'm going to use a couple of little pieces of tape. Just so it doesn't move on me. Okay. And run it through my die machine. And that won't take but just a second. I'm going to put an extra piece of paper. Sometimes if I lay an extra piece of paper underneath my the piece that I'm trying to cut out. Wait a minute, something has moved here. It helps to cut the pieces a little bit better is what I'm trying to say. Okay. I'm going to lay this over. I'm going to take a real quick look. Yeah, okay, we're still okay. I moved this lamp, my lighting, and I was afraid that maybe it moved the whole thing and you wouldn't be able to see. So I think we're good. All right, this is what I mean by just putting an extra piece underneath. Just something that's not good. And I'm going to take this die off over here out from under the camera so all the little pieces don't fall down in our way. Let me move this. Try not to tear it. I hope I didn't. Okay, now, for right now, we're not going to need that other piece, and I went ahead, I'll use it for another project. But this is the way we're going to get this image. I'm going to glue this to the evening evergreen. And there again, I want to make sure that I've got it turned the way I want it. Let's see. Yeah, okay, there we go. That's right. Okay. First thing we're going to do is just glue this piece to the evening evergreen. And I'm just going to put a little bit of glue along the edge and also around where this is cut out in the center, because you don't want that part curling up. Wouldn't put a lot of glue, just a small amount to seal it is really all you need. Okay. I believe that's got it. Everything's falling over here today. All right. Because I'm going to have a little border down at the bottom, and I've got this going out flush with the green. The evening evergreen, that is. Okay. This die is so wide is the reason I eliminated the border on the sides. All right, now then, you've got a place to put your white accent flower and inlay it, I guess is the way you would say it. So all we're going to do is just glue a little bit, put a little bit of glue on the back of this. And I'm going to reach over and get my tweezers. I should have laid them out, but I didn't. And I'll hold it right like that. So that way you can put just a tiny bit. All right, here's one that didn't completely fall out. A little tiny spot I didn't see yesterday when I cut this. Well, get my picker tool. We got one little piece in there. There. Sometimes when you look over them, you'll miss one like this. So, and I don't want that under there when I lay this down. So, now I think I got them all. All right, let's try that again. I'm going to put a little bit of glue right here in the middle of the flower. That'll kind of help to hold it down. And then I'm going to put them more on the tips than anywhere else. And this takes a second, as they say. Because these little pieces, if you don't get it sealed down pretty good, will kind of curl up on you. You don't need, like I said, you don't need a whole lot of glue. And I'll show you what I do when sometimes I think I get too much. You can always kind of blot it off. The rest of it, if all the edges stay, the rest of it in the middle usually does pretty good. Unless you got a little curly cue like this one, you want to make sure you get that. This is the hardest part of making this particular card, is just getting the glue on. Okay. All right. Because I may have some spots that are a little bit bigger than I would like, I'm going to just, on this piece of paper that I was using, just barely dot it. And you see some of that excess glue will come off. And the reason that it's nice to get it off is because it won't, gush out on your card. So you have to make sure you got it turned right. And then slowly start on one side and just kind of work it in to each little crack and crevice that, that matches. See how easy that is? And it looks impressive. Like, how did you do that? So, at least to somebody that doesn't know. Okay, here I didn't get one. I almost messed up. Okay. Want to make sure that they're all pressed down in their little spots. And you don't even see any glue then because I blotted it off. It looks really nice. So that's the goal, is to do that. So once you get that part laid in, all you have to do is glue it on the front of your card base. Easy peasy. I'll say that, and then I'll have it crooked as it can be, probably. Maybe I'll get lucky here today. Move that down just a little bit. Balance the distance. Okay, I think that looks good. Now, like with some of the others, if you want to put a sentiment on the outside, you know, just move it further down towards the bottom. In this instance, just because I wanted the flower to look pretty on the outside and to have this effect, I did not put a sentiment on it. I just put it in the center. Now then, you remember this little piece over here that I took out that still got all the little pieces. I'm going to show you something. But this is the piece that I used from the first card. Now you see what I've got. I mean, I'm not going to take all the little pieces out. This is just, you know, just so that, you know, there'll be no question about what I did. This is the piece from the very first card that I made, and it was this same color that ended up being that piece. This is the stencil that I used and just kept coloring over and over to make all those cards. So, enough said. Just wanted you to know what you can do with these. So, like I said, this was kind of out of my wheelhouse as far as the design and what have you, but we got some cards made nonetheless. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope that you might have learned something from it. Like I said, probably some of you gals that have been making cards for a long, long time, you know, this is nothing new to, but maybe for somebody that hasn't made them before, it'd give you another idea. Okay, folks, that's it for today. Just remember, if you would, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and share with someone that might enjoy the videos. And we have the Santa tag set. That's new. There's some new things on the clearance rack. So that's about it for today. You have a good rest of your week, and I'll be back in a few days with another video, hopefully real soon. Some days it takes a day or two longer, but I will keep working at it, and I welcome you back, and I thank you for your time today. Bye-bye.